You've probably spent most of your life watching other people move through the world with an ease you can't quite access. They laugh at the right moments. They know when to speak and when to stay quiet. They seem to understand the unwritten rules without ever being told what they are. And you're always a half step behind or a half step ahead, analyzing the rhythm while everyone else is dancing. This isn't about being shy or anxious, though those might be part of it. This is about something deeper, a fundamental sense that you're operating with a different instruction manual, that you're fluent in a language everyone else only speaks casually, while they're fluent in one you have to translate in real time. You notice things, the micro-expression that flashes across someone's face before they smile, the slight shift in tone that means the conversation just changed in a way no one else seems to register. You're collecting data constantly, reading between lines that others don't even see as lines. It's exhausting. Because while everyone else seems to be living intuitively, you're living analytically. They feel their way through interactions. You think your way through them. And by the time you've finished processing what just happened, the moment has already moved on without you. Here's what might be going on. Some people are born with nervous systems that process information differently. Not worse, not broken, just different. These nervous systems pick up on subtleties in the environment that others filter out as background noise. Changes in light, in sound, in emotional temperature. The nervous system is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Gather information to keep you safe, but it's gathering far more than most people's systems do. This often means you experience the world more intensely from the beginning. As a child, you might have been the one who couldn't wear certain fabrics, who heard the hum of fluorescent lights, who felt the emotional weather of every room you entered. You learned early that your experience of reality didn't quite match the people around you, so you adapted. You learned to watch, to study, to figure out the patterns that others seem to absorb without effort. You became a translator, constantly converting your internal experience into something that would make sense to people who didn't experience things the way you did. And you got good at it. Good enough that most people probably have no idea how much work you're doing just to appear normal. Good enough that they might describe you as thoughtful or observant or a good listener. They don't see the processing happening underneath, the constant calibration, the energy it takes to be present in a way that looks effortless but feels like performance. This creates a strange kind of loneliness. Because even when you're with people, even when you're liked or loved, there's a part of you that remains untranslated, a part that exists in the space between what you actually experience and what you're able to communicate. You can describe the mechanics of how you feel, but the direct experience itself, the texture of it, remains somehow private. And over time, you might start to feel like an observer of your own life rather than a participant in it. You watch yourself in conversations. You notice yourself having feelings as if from a slight distance. It's not that the feelings aren't real. It's that there's a thin membrane between you and them, a layer of awareness that never fully dissolves. This isn't detachment in the clinical sense. It's more like a heightened consciousness that makes full immersion difficult. You're always a little bit aware that you're aware, always watching the watcher. Here's something important to understand. None of this means something is wrong with you. It means you're working with a different kind of sensitivity, a different bandwidth of perception. The same qualities that make simple social interactions feel complex also allow you to notice beauty others miss, to detect dishonesty before it's spoken, to hold space for emotional complexity that most people flatten or avoid. You're not broken, you're calibrated differently. The difficulty is that the world is built for the majority experience. Social structures, workplace environments, even the pace of daily life, they're all designed around a baseline that might not be yours. So you're constantly trying to fit yourself into spaces that weren't made with you in mind. And that takes a toll. The fatigue you feel isn't just about being introverted or needing alone time. It's about the sustained effort of existing in environments that require constant translation, of managing a level of stimulation and awareness that others don't have to manage, of knowing that if you tried to explain how overwhelming a normal day can feel, it would sound like exaggeration. So what do you do with this? First, you stop treating your experience as evidence of deficiency. The fact that you process the world differently doesn't mean you're processing it wrong. It means you're working with different information, different priorities, different sensitivities. That's variation, not failure. Second, you find ways to honor what your system actually needs instead of what you think it should need. If you need more time alone than other people, that's not antisocial. If you need to leave parties early or skip them entirely, that's not weakness. If you need silence and stillness to feel like yourself, that's not avoidance. It's maintenance. And third, you look for the others. Because you're not alone in this, even though it feels that way. There are others who live in this same space, who understand the particular exhaustion of constant translation, who know what it's like to feel deeply while also feeling distant. They're harder to find because they're also watching from the edges. But they're there. You don't need to fix yourself. You need to understand yourself, to stop apologizing for the way your mind works and start building a life that accommodates it rather than fighting it. The world will keep moving at its pace. Let it. You were never meant to keep up with everyone else. You were meant to notice what they're missing.